Yeah, they're a good side, and glad the big Hawk didn't play. Um, yeah, listen, yeah, but just around the contest, particularly early in the game when the game was really hot. They were just bigger and stronger and more polished around congestion, and they said, they had Hawk out of their side, they had danger out of their side that would have helped them in that space too. So we know we're at as a footy side. We Endeavour was strong, and we tried hard, but we're just outmuscled by a bigger group, and tried to correct that a little bit in the second half. We're a little bit better in that space, but probably the horse had bolted in terms of just them getting the ascendancy, the metres gained. The first 10 or 15 minutes of the game, game's just played predominantly in their half. They kicked 3 goals and set the pattern and the tone for the day really, and we're chasing tail. So they're a good side, and very experienced and mature bodies, and that continues to find us out. And we can't do anything about that until we get some more exposure to it and get more time into our players in terms of making them stronger. And but we've got, compared to the Geelong side, we're a bunch of pups really, in terms of both age and experience. So that's why I'm saying we know where we're at as a footy club. We've just got to keep persevering and giving them exposure to it, and bit by bit getting stronger, and both stronger in the mind but stronger physically as well.
Given that you were outplayed for the first quarter of an hour, did you think positive things that you were still in there and a couple of goals that sort of...
Yeah, well, the Geelong are, as I said earlier, a very good side. So we're pleased that we hung in there. We got ourselves back into the game in the first quarter to get it back to 4 goals to 3, and then they score a goal, with 3 seconds to go, right on the siren. So we're back into the contest, and pleased that at different stages we really challenged the Geelong side with some of our ball movement. But by and large, we recognised right from the get-go, particularly on this ground, you play on narrow type of grounds, the territory that you get from stoppage is actually critical. Now, the game wasn't decided, strangely enough, by the amount of goals that were scored from stoppage, whether that was centre bounce or between arc stoppages, but it was decided by the territory the two teams could get or couldn't get, and they beat us in that space. And that meant there was, we're having to defend from a much longer pitch than we'd like, and basically I said to match committee before the game, if the inside 50s are sort of reasonably equal, 50-50, then we'll give ourselves a chance to be in the game. But if it's 61 to 45 inside 50, we're probably going to get beaten by 6 to 10 goals, and that's the way that it panned out. You just can't give. And a lot of that is just the territory that you give up at stoppage, and we just need to be better in that space. And a very young midfield group. We lost Colby in the first 10 minutes of the game with a chest or a rib injury, and that just he's only a young guy too, but still learning the game and exposure to that area of the ground, and they were just too tough and too strong for us.
Is it tactical or just the way the game panned out? Charlie Common, just as an example, went sideways a few times at half back. Is that something you wanted to do, or is that just a trap for young players down there?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit to do with the Geelong defence. They forced you to do that at different stages. You've got such a strong down the line presence that at different stages you try to go around them. But where we actually had some success was when we did take the ground, and so it's just finding that balance between when you try and go around and when you go down the line. And right at the moment we're sometimes making good decisions in that space and sometimes not. But that's what an experienced side does to you. And so full credit to Geelong. They're where they are on the ladder for a reason. They're a really tough side to beat, particularly down here. And we at different stages moved the ball really well against them, but we just couldn't do it consistently enough to really threaten them on the scoreboard.
There was at times when you guys were a bit messy or sloppy with the ball. Is that Geelong's pressure or is it experience?
Well, it's all of the above, really. it's polished with the footy, and it's just ball security really. When you're bigger, stronger bodies and you're getting tackled, they'll hold on to the ball for that little bit longer and then dispose of it at the last second before the umpire makes a call on what you do with the ball. And some of it is that perceived pressure. That's what we're saying. We just need to put time and experience into these kids with the exposure that they get to the games that they play, and but you can you can't fast track that. We can't play 3 games a week. We've got one game this weekend and another one next weekend, and we just know we're going to be in a better space the more that we can back those games up over time. And if you look at some of the really strong sides in the competition, we've got really experienced lists, and all we know is that we're going to be more experienced next year and more experienced the year after that, and hopefully at some point the wheel turns where we're the more experienced side and the more polished, and some of the other sides who are experienced now have to regenerate their lists and go a little bit younger, because that's where the future for this footy club is.
Were you happy with Biggie's move? He showed good signs.
It's tough with the amount of supply that they were getting, but particularly early, he did some really good things for us. But he had 20 touches and intercepted a fair few balls for us, and stopped some of their forward thrust. So we were pleased with the way that he went about his game.
Ford, Drury, Sherry, Sheasel, any other highlights?
It's just these guys who continue to get exposure. As I've said, I'll just be saying the same thing really, and we just got to keep working at our game. There are parts of the game today that knew it was a tough challenge coming down here, but there are parts of our game that we're really pleased with. We've been working on some things, and we controlled the ball really well at different stages and just didn't give it back to Geelong. But then other stages we, because of their pressure, and but when we talk about their pressure, we out-tackled them. A little bit to do with them having the ball a fair bit, but we had more of the footy than they did. We made it difficult for them to get it back off us at different stages, but bottom line is the polish of their side when they go forward. I think there was a stage in the third quarter, start of the third quarter, where we just broke out of through the middle of the ground, and George just misses a kick to Jai, and Tucker just misses a kick to. Geelong are hopelessly out of position on those plays, and they should be goals to us, and we just don't capitalise on those chances, and that's the polish that you're searching for. The Geelong side is just more composed in those sort of situations, and we're just a little bit rushed, or we just missed the kick, or I think it was 30 clanger kicks to their 15. Well, 15 clanger kicks are just like straight to the opposition. You have 15 more than the opposition on any given game, they probably turn into, the way the game's played now, they probably turn into 5, 6, 7 goals just on their own. So, that's the difference between the two sides. Some of that just comes with experience and composure, and it's going to take us a while to get there, but we feel like we're on the right path.
Alastair, I know you talked about this before the game, but it was a sad and tragic day for the Goods family. How did the club approach that?
Listen, it's really it's difficult for the Good family to have to deal with that tragedy, obviously. But it's difficult for us all to deal with it. I mean, it's just we're just fed up with it, to be fair. Like, we've got 3 families in Ballarat grieving. You get the same thing after every one of them, drugs or alcohol. And yet, as a society, as a government or whatever, my fellow Australians, we're grieving for our lost ones again. When's it actually going to change? When are people actually going to do something about the scourge on society, which is drugs and alcohol? The government does nothing about it to the extent that they should. Drugs is an issue in our sport. We don't do enough about it as we should. And it's crippling society. And this is one of the best countries in the world, but we could do something about it. but we just tolerate it and don't stand up against it. And then tragedies like this happen, and it's just, I just really, really feel for everyone that's connected to it. I feel for those families in Ballarat. Spent 3 years in the Ballarat area as a kid going to school, and to think that community, just a tight-knit, beautiful community, and they're at pain too. Just in this country, it shouldn't happen like this. We need to do something about it, but it's not one person, it needs to be a whole heap of people that galvanise. Our judicial system doesn't. So many times these incidents happen and say, oh, yeah, he was out on bail or parole or whatever, and it's just like, oh, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. We're just sick of it. It's about humanity, and that poor little girl, Harriet, without her mum now. Ashgood was a beautiful, beautiful lady. Bloody tragedy. Bloody tragedy.
Just a slight change. Colin Kircher, you obviously went off, hurt his ribs. How's he doing?
I haven't spoken to the docs, but he was unable to continue in the game, so we just didn't really want to take a risk. He's a young kid, he's had a heavy knock, so we're hopeful he'll be right for next week, but we're not too sure. He'll get that assessed, and we won't take any risk with him. If he's a bit sore, he won't play. If he recovers okay, then hopefully we can get him going again.